Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I am of course your host Smooth Caramel and I talk about rap, so that's what I'ma do. So today we're talking about a song from not too long ago by a rapper known as J.I.D. Quite the interesting artist to talk about as well, if I do say so, so let's get into this. J.I.D. is an American rapper from Atlanta, Georgia, and I know it's like the third or fourth one now. It's not any particular favor, a bit of a coincidence. I just talk about whatever lingers in my mind really, usually while I'm cooking. But yes, so J.I.D. came up in the game in the last decade with a few mixtapes before kind of breaking through with a feature from J. Cole. Running into the right people can really get things moving in this rap game. And in pretty much any business thinking about it, nepotism is and has long been a thing. But despite that, J.I.D's really cemented himself as a very unique presence in the rap game with quite a distinctive voice and lyrical style. Working on a variety of different types of beats, often in that trap-like style, but he does tend to at least maintain some hip-hop kind of edge. He's demonstrated a pretty versatile skill set as a rapper, so much so that when I played one of his songs for my dad, who introduced me to J.I.D. in let's say 2017 or something like that, with Ed, Edd n Eddy. I love that cartoon growing up, which my dad was very much aware of. He legit didn't believe it was the same guy and just thought that I was tripping. I remember him bringing it up like a year later on another visit home and admitting he got it wrong. But to be fair, it is pretty conceivable. You probably would have some kind of a knee-jerk skeptical reaction when presented with a song like Somebody, to then be told it's from the same guy with songs like Ed, Edd n Eddy and Never. Thug life trapping shit to a light-hearted love makes the world go round bop. I get it.
They ask me what's my sound, I tell them nothing particular.
Kinda matches the tone of the weather going on here in the UK as I'm writing this, with the weather on some kind of hourly rotation between sun and snow. Plus I think the mainstream has somewhat conditioned us to expect pretty much different versions of the same song from the majority of artists that you do tend to see. I wouldn't say that these modern times are the pinnacle of versatility, but that's not what we're talking about today, obviously. The song I want to look at today is Off the Zoinkys from 2018, which is probably my favorite song from J.I.D. Now even though I say it is one of my favorite songs of his, I actually know next to none of the lyrics from the song. And I do play it at least semi-often, usually when I'm chilling or just having some music time with friends. You know what? I don't actually know that many J.I.D. lyrics at all. Not from Somebody, not from Ed, Edd n Eddy, not from Never, not from 151 Rome, and not from Off the Zoinkys. What is up with that? Alright, I think I know what it is. So I mentioned that I like to listen to J.I.D. when I'm chilling. Yeah, I almost exclusively listen to J.I.D. when I'm chilling. And usually with other people. It doesn't tend to be the more focused listening mode that I do have with a lot of music. I've known and appreciated his music now for a few years, but I can't think of more than a couple occasions where I've actually sat down and put his song on as the type of music that I wanted to let my mind focus and linger on. When I'm feeling some kind of a way, maybe on my travels, you know, the kind of modes when you're more focused and engrossed by the music. And I believe this is because of the general style of his music, however vaguely defined. J.I.D. is very well known within his seemingly dedicated fan base for how fast and uncontained his rapping can be. It was one of the first things I noticed when I was thinking about reviewing one of his songs. Obviously this does vary, but it is one of the more common features to his more popular songs, at the very least. I saw a comment in one of his songs when I was checking through on YouTube, and I think it summed it up pretty nicely. It said something along the lines of, why does J.I.D. always rap like he's running out of studio time? Which, to be honest, I kind of wish I came up with for myself. It's definitely the type of shit that I tend to say. But I think this is what contributes to this general feeling to his music that makes it more enjoyable naturally in that more sensational way. Getting into the intricacies of his flow and delivery, as well as how they pair with the beat. The rapping tends to arrive at a high pace with the lyrics not immediately distinguishable upon first or more passive exposure. You are, however, perfectly able to enjoy the vibe and performance of it. It is even somewhat more engrossing for how he can practically lunge you into the music so abruptly in a song, like he does with Off to Zoinkys, particularly because of his very sparing use of breaks, repetition, or choruses. Higher paced rappers traditionally use a lot of breaks and repetition to allow a certain level of access to their delivery of bars that could otherwise blow past the listener or cause some kind of a sensory overload. They'll cycle through a couple bars here and there a few times for emphasis and have breaks between fast sections to build up into the next one, as well as allow some space to process a denser blocks of lyrics. Maybe have larger, slower choruses for contrast to minimize the amount of surrounding faster rappers. But J.I.D just doesn't seem to feel the need for shit like this. This is why his songs can actually feel a lot longer than they actually are. They probably have higher rates of unique words and thus unique information to process. Off to Zoinkys has no real chorus and very few parts that let up with that speed and intensity. Near enough just once where it happens to a very significant degree. And that is no coincidence, the part that gives rise to the line that I find the most memorable.
Ronald Reagan, I can think I'm enough. Nah, I'm playing nigga racist, fuck. So my nigga.
Little weird that that's what ended up being the standout line for the song, or at least the most memorable for me. But you know what, I ain't got a problem with that at all. What that line does to the one minor reprieve is set you up to go back in with that heat. But how he does offer some level of separation and distinctiveness to specific parts of the song is in how he changes and varies the patterns of his flow. Generally, each successive flow or pattern is a little bit more complex and arrives with a bit more energy. He starts with a simple pattern, one syllable rhyme arriving pretty much on the drum kick each time, though there's some half rhymes and internal rhymes within these a bit, with the emphasis of the rhyme landing on that O rhyme sound. Then he puts more emphasis on maintaining those successive internal rhymes, which adds more bounce within each bar as it comes, as well as subtly building that intensity. Then it eases up a little with that wait to restart, that build-up created by the flow and the beat with the bass line as it begins to assert its presence. The flow and rhyme scheme then becomes a little bit more complicated, weaving when the beat leads itself into a breakdown with those 808s, creating that sense of anticipation, leading into that one part.
I can think I'm enough. Nah, I'm playing nigga racist, fuck. So my
And then with that beat fully established, J.I.D basically just lets loose. And that progression in the song's construction is very well exemplified with the music video. That slow rising energy in the rapping is reflected pretty well in that slow rising energy to the actor in the video as he starts from nothing to dance. Basically illustrates how I get down to the song as well. It's one of those joints that is able to capture you without having any real catchy points to latch on. You just get launched in and then you ride with it. It is quite the feat, I would say, for a rapper, because it really does require a broad range of flow and delivery, as well as the musical instincts to deploy them interesting. A lot of mainstream rap just coasts over things like buzzwords, repetition, auto-tune, and what may pass for punchline, with stock footage levels of creativity in their uses of flow. But not this man on the track today. And in saying all of this, I'm not trying to say the lyrics are bad, because they're not. Far from it. They're just good in a way that allows them to be more in service of the performance rather than the other way around. I write lyrics and punchlines, and the latter half of my writing process is adapting the structure of the lines to flow well and then figuring out what kind of delivery to use. Now, if this is done effectively, it shouldn't be too obvious that that is the case. But even with me intentionally calculating the flow and the delivery, the lyrics do remain at the forefront. But with J.I.D, I appreciate how the lyrics aren't necessarily at the forefront. And I enjoy that secondary, more focused listening experience, where I'm able to focus and pick apart what's actually beneath the lyrics and the layers that he's constructed. I think this might be why J.I.D has a bit of a cult-like audience, or maybe not even that, just a smaller but especially dedicated fan base. That type of listening experience is less common, and even for someone like me, not something that I get in the mood for as often as more traditionally structured songs, or just ones where the lyrics are a bit easier to pass. Not to say I can't handle more challenging listening, just that I prefer the challenge to be more in interpreting the lyrics rather than just passing and understanding them. But with that said, a great song from an interesting artist that I would definitely recommend for some high energy hood shit to bop and whatever else J.I.D may venture into. But let me know what you think about the song and J.I.D and this video. I know this didn't really have my normal focus of lyrical analysis and interpretation, but I guess my interest and focus for this video just wasn't on the lyrics. And rap does encompass a bit more than the lyrics alone. Really, I just go where the feeling takes me. But anyway, peace, love, all of that goodness. This has been another Smooth Caramel review. Damn. This business of doing B-roll of myself is basically just me trying to figure out how much I'm willing to embarrass myself. And you know what, fun fact for y'all, if you see me doing some kind of a B-roll take for the videos and I'm not obviously sitting down, my tripod doesn't go high enough to be anywhere near eye level with me. So if you see me, I'm probably on my knees. I'm sure minds are shattering. Anyway, peace.